You
Oh,
know,
right,
but
gentlemen.
matter of fact, I'm speaking to everybody. Just do your part the best way you can to find a solution. Cause everybody can sit here and argue about this, that, and the third all day. But then you wasting more time doing that than actually acting on the problem at hand.
Mm.
Now, listening
Everybody
to
was
both of
united
y'all,
until a contrarian came along and started
I'm
talking
not a
about what is what
contrarian.
is.
I'm
I mean,
reading
listen,
prompts.
I
listening
still
to
want
how
him to
this
show me
conversation
Everybody
is
was
going.
united until he started talking about, well, women
Bro,
this,
the
well,
prompt
women
says
that, well,
only
women
use
this.
men, never be useful.
okay, but
I'm
Euclid,
responding to
I
that.
want you to answer this for me. I want you to answer this for me. Show me. You said there's women in power. I want you to show me. Tell me right now, so I can look it up on my phone. I got Google open. Tell me a woman who is in power right now who is not under the
He's going to
patriarchy,
respond with a hypothetical, by the
because
way.
we are all under the patriarchy, right? So any woman any
But
president,
that's a ridiculous claim.
You
What
see?
is it?
This is
What? Hold on,
pointless.
hold on.
what?
What is the patriarchy? Right?
The patriarchy. Listen, the patriarchy is the
No,
systematic.
Austin, he knows what it is. Why would you
No.
waste
I
I
want
know
you.
you're right.
your... He's a
There are a
contrarian.
million and one definitions of the patriarchy. I want to know what
There
his
are not
definition
million
of
and
it.
one, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
he
there
wants to
are.
know mine. He
Oh,
wants
yes,
to know
there
mine,
are.
Yanni.
So tell
He
me
want to know
what
mine.
you think the patriarchy is.
The patriarchy is the systematic. It's just like systemic racism. It's the systemic teaching of men that we are superior, right? The systemic control that men have over the entire world. Toxic men, not all men. This is not meaning you and your dad, whoever you think of as a good man in your life, right? It's a systemic conditioning of men to be violent, to be contrarian, and to demean women and anyone else who is seen as lesser in societal view. That is part of the patriarchy. I can go on for hours and days about the whole, you know what I'm saying? The whole thing.
Okay, so first of all, to respond to your claims that the patriarchy inherently teaches men to be violent, is this a property of the patriarchy or just reality itself?
The
Reality
patriarchy,
itself
because the
is
people who do it
suffering
are
and
men.
violence. Why is it fair to just pin this on men? Men, are you going to say that lions who go out and unalive gazelle are patriarchal?
Are you a lion?
No, I'm not a lion. I'm asking you,
So why are we? But
does
if you and
violence
I aren't lions,
is
I would
violence?
never.
Can we
I would
move
never get.
on? Hold on. Let
I'm
me ask
answering
you.
you.
Let me
I would
ask you
never
the
bring a
question:
lion into
is
this
violence
conversation.
itself inherently patriarchal?
No, I didn't say that was.
Okay, so why would you
Is
assign?
violence
Why would
inherently
you
white
say we live in a
supremacist?
patriarchy simply because there is violence?
Is violence inherently white supremacist?
No, it's a tool of white supremacy. And I get your
Okay.
point.
Oh,
I get your point that it can be a tool of patriarchy, but it can also be a tool of matriarchy. Like when we look at
there is
child
no
abuse,
such thing
when
as
we
a
look at child
matriarchy.
abuse, or when we look at infanticides, that
Sir,
90%
there
of them
is
are
no
committed by women.
society
Is
built by
this not
women.
matriarchal?
There is no matriarchy to pull this
I
So
example
still want you to show
from.
how
me
would you
exactly,
describe child rearing? We
dude.
we
Show
all
me.
That is
Show
the
acknowledge
me the
that
family
this
woman.
is
nucleus.
overwhelmingly
That
done
is
by
the
That's
women.
very
family
true,
Women
nucleus,
bro.
hold the
sir. That is
majority
the
of power
family
over
nucleus.
children. So why wouldn't we
That's
consider
not
this
a
matriarchal?
matriarchy. That is not a matriarchy. That is the family nucleus built upon the values of
The
patriarchy.
patriarchy, the man,
Bro,
you
y'all
realize, Euclid, you realize the woman staying in the house and taking care of kids and not having a job and not having dreams and not having their own ambitions. You know that was made by a man to
No, it
subjugate
was
women. You
not.
realize that
No, it was not. You're taking things that were
our society
fundamental
was
to
built by
reality
men.
and blaming men for them. Like gender roles are
Fundamental to
simply
reality. Okay,
a
so
form.
what things?
Gender
What? No, no,
roles
no.
are
This is too
simply a
abstract.
form of specialization.
Euclid,
That's
you're
all
being
they
too
are.
abstract. You're
Hello?
being too abstract. So, what are the
Hello?
things that were built by
How can
fundamental
we have these
reality?
conversations without being abstract?
Define
They're
them.
abstract
Define them.
concepts. What are
What are
you
those
talking about?
things? What are those things that were built by fundamental reality? That is the most abstract shit I've ever heard. Define the
Right. But
things.
you're
Define the
missing the point.
things. What are
You're
the things
missing the
defined
point.
by the fundamental realities? And what are the fundamental realities? If
You're
we're talking
missing
about
the
the
point.
nucleus family.
The
My
reason
question
why,
is, why are
like,
you comparing us to animals?
if we look at this historically, the reason why women stayed at home was because historically the work that men did was dangerous. It was hard. It was
That
physically
so
intensive. Hold on.
you
Hold
are
on.
literally
Hold
under.
on. Shut the
No,
fuck
listen
up.
to me,
Why do you
Let him
bro.
insist
Why
on
land.
you gotta
speaking
curse?
while I'm
Why you gotta
speaking?
get so violent,
God
dog? It's not
damn.
that serious.
You can't shut the fuck up for
Can I engage in this panel
But
for a Hey, you bit? can't talk
violence is
like
not
that on
inherently
here, boy.
masculine.
What's wrong with him?
Hello.
Hello, can I engage in this panel for a bit? Okay, when you guys were just discussing patriarchy, you defined it wrong. Patriarchy simply means led by the father. And the reason why men have always led by the father because of the force doctrine. This is an anomaly in history by which we are so safe and so evenly distributed. So force was always an intrinsic part of how humans interacted with each other. So this is a natural biological reality.
But
So
I
if you
used
never
the
had
political
force,
science definition. I was not using
no, I know,
the
but political science is a pseudoscience. I don't deal with political science. I'm a
uh,
The
biotechnologist.
context of the
I deal with
conversation, so you're not
biology.
making sense.
so you're in a
No, the context.
pseudoscientific conversation for no reason. This is a political science
No, I'm
conversation,
just
so you
saying.
don't
We're
That's
talking about
believe.
fine. I can engage.
sociopolitics.
I can engage in the political science
Then
part
stay
of
in the
it and
context,
also
sir. Don't
reference
talk about the family
historical.
nucleus.
I can also engage in historical and biological precedents. All of this is based off political science is based off biological realities.
Okay, well, how about this? Do you
So
know
as
about
I
do you know
continue,
about? Okay, so you want to go biology? Do you know about the
okay,
bonobo
we
ape?
can go step for step.
No, hold
Go
up.
ahead.
Let's, because he said our definition of patriarchy was inaccurate. So let me read it out. A system of society or government in which the father or the eldest male is the head of the family and all descent is traced through the male line. It is a system of society or government in which men hold all the power and women are largely excluded from it. A society in which that prioritize or dominates patriarchal lines. I'm gonna let you.
What what did I
What
just
is
say? Do
inherently
you
Did
remember
wrong
you
what I
about
did you
this
hear
said?
the
system?
part where I said
I said
system
that
of society and government in which men hold the power?
I heard
Women
you,
are
but you did not
largely
hear me.
excluded.
I heard you, but you did not hear me, or else you would have to read the definition. I said patriarchy
Hold the
simply
power
means led
doesn't
by
make
the
it wrong.
father.
That's
Led
and
by the
that's how you
father.
ended. You took one portion of it,
Yes.
you decontextualized it
No,
out into
because
politics.
I just made it succinct. That's a long
That's
definition
not
for something
succinct,
that's
that's
very simple.
convenience. That's intellectually
No,
dishonest.
it's not
It's
intellectually
intellectually
dishonest. I said
dishonest,
that's
BTC, to
can I
decontextualize the
reiterate my
definition.
definition? Can I reinterpret?
If
Can
you
I
want to put
redefine?
all of the
Can I
definition,
restate?
sure.
I don't need to put all of my definition. I said patriarchy simply means led by the father. Whether it's systems, organizations, or government or family, it's still led by the father. That's what patriarchy means, which was actually in your definition.
Did everyone hear my
So
reading of the definition?
Yeah, and nothing about your definition implied this sort of moral quality
Did
that
you? It's a yes or
feminism
no
applies
question,
to its
Euclid. I know you
understanding
struggle
of
with
the patriarchy.
comprehension. I
The
understand you
patriarch,
understand what
according
patriarchy.
to
sorry,
feminism, the
sorry, I just cut
Comprehension.
patriarchy
off.
is
Hey, I think
inherently
I was
immoral.
next.
Your definition that you just
Sorry,
read
my
doesn't
internet just
imply
cut
that.
out. Sorry, my
Oxford
internet just cut
Dictionary is
out.
wrong,
Can you
y'all.
reiterate what you just said? I never said the Oxford Dictionary was wrong. I said I already stated it. That's
Well, you
what
said
I
it was
said.
You stated
So
pseudoscience.
one
can I
third of it.
continue?
You stated one third
So
of it, and then
no,
Euclid went on a
I
tangent.
said political science is pseudoscience, which isn't a
And the
pseudoscience because it
Oxford
doesn't follow the
Dictionary is giving
scientific
God,
you a
I didn't
method.
political
realize my
science
degree was
definition.
pseudoscience. I should go and tell all the
Yes,
universities.
yes, social sciences is called a soft science. You can look that up.
Sir, where?
It
What
is a
island do you
soft
hail from?
science.
What island do you hail
A,
from, sir?
a soft science and a
How is that
pseudoscience are
Euclid,
two
relevant to
different
this?
things, bro.
please sit your
How
illiterate
is that
ass down for a
relevant to the
second. BTC,
destruction?
what island do you hail
How is
from?
it?
Who
How is that
you
relevant to the
to?
discussion?
I'm asking you a question. You either answer it or you don't.
No, but that's not relevant to the discussion. We can
You
continue with the
don't get to determine
discussion.
what's relevant if you came in here and said that this is pseudoscience after we've been having a
I
conversation for
said
2 hours.
Can you Google it and see political science is actually considered a hard science? It's not. It's considered a
Well,
pseudoscience, a
So
soft
Euclid
there's
just
science.
told
hard
you.
science
It
and
was
then there's
first of all
non-hard
when the
science.
university was
Wait, hold
when
up,
university system was
hold up. So
originally developed, it was called a
physics is
soft
science,
science.
biology is
It's a
science. So
yes. The- what
bioethics is
makes a
not science.
science? What makes
Bioethics
a
is not
setting?
science.
Let's do this
Bioethics
first.
is not
Let's
science.
Bioethics would technically be soft science.
Okay,
yes,
so
exactly.
soft science is a
We're
prefix. The
talking.
prefix does not
Wait,
remove the
no, we're
science.
talking.
DTC is
Can we
arguing
wait?
that it's not a science.
We're talking past each other.
Political
Define
science is a
science.
soft science in the
Science is
same
the
way
study of
economics is.
This is
biological
such
science.
bad faith bullshit.
No,
So
it's
now we're
not.
debating the
Not bad faith.
legitimacy of science.
No,
No,
Euclid's
we're
agreeing with you.
debating.
I think Euclid's agreeing with you and me, you and I.
I was not debating the legitimacy of political science. I said it is a soft science, which is it
You
is.
also said it
But
was a
that's
pseudoscience.
no, it is a pseudoscience as well. And can we focus on the
Do you
debate that we're
understand what
having?
pseudo means?
Yes.
Well,
What does it
then you
mean?
are contradicting yourself.
It can't be
No,
both.
it means not fully considered a science. It's a soft science. Soft sciences don't follow the scientific method, which is scientific method is testing, creating a hypothesis,
So,
testing for a
okay, I
hypothesis, and
understand.
replicating
By
that
that definition,
hypothesis.
sociology is not a hard science.
No, it's not either.
Anthropology.
Sociology.
So
No, do you know that we're under no?
quantitative research, qualitative research is not a hard science. It's not based in mathematics.
No, qualitative research are done by subjective studies,
I think he's
which
trying to
are
get us to
Studies
like
also
that
a
which
run through
can which
sociology. How
can
can I have a
which
sociologic
often
degree?
cannot be recreated because
Hold
even
on.
in the
Political,
Oh
university
my
systems
political
like
god.
science.
Harvard, Oxford, they're
You're,
having a
you're,
replication
hold
crisis
on,
because it
DTC.
cannot be
Hold on,
replicated.
DTC. Miley is confusing something. Okay, just because political science borrows math from physics in the mode of statistical mechanics and statistical analysis does not make it any less soft science. These are basically educated guessworks. This is not hard
Exactly.
science.
Also a
A
Okay,
science.
science can be replicated
I
and you
can't
can get
wait
back
for
the
y'all
same
to pull
result
up
more often
I
than
can't
not.
wait for y'all to put up
bro,
a
But can
let
we
me
bro.
go back to
You
the
as a political
discussion?
I can't
scientist,
wait for you to pull up a
Can we go back
scientist,
to the
you can
discussion?
use as
I
many
can't wait for you to
Hamiltonians
pull
and
up a statistic to
Lagrangians
base your
and whatever
points.
to describe models
Euclid,
that you want.
didn't
It
you
does
mention
not make it.
statistics
It
earlier
does
on?
not make political science any less.
Didn't you pull the statistic?
what happened?
Hey, I think I was next, though.
Yeah, we got muted, so
Or
I was just waiting for everyone to
DCC.
finish. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if it was me or you. Did you go already? Okay. So who's next, man?
Can y'all not unmute yourselves? What happened?
We got muted. I was wanted to engage in the topic because we kind of pivoted towards something else.
We were talking about Never Marry for Love, and then Euclid went on a tangent, and it completely derailed what we were talking about. Joey Dunn left because the conversation got so redundant.
Oh, he did leave.
Yeah, he did leave because it got really bad faith really quickly.
It's not.
Sorry, I was
Just
just
don't
trying to
like
engage with the prompt from
ideas
prompt
for
one.
print.
Sorry.
Just
So I was
because
trying to
you
engage with the
disagree with
prompt.
me doesn't make me bad faith, and that claim itself is bad faith.
Sidestepping facts for your convenience is
Sidestepping
intellectually
No,
facts. What
dishonest.
that is
facts
a
have I
fact.
sidestepped?
You want me to itemize it for you, baby?
Just tell me one.
That men don't rule the world?
I didn't say men
So,
don't rule the world. I said we don't live in a patriarchy. Just because men
That's what
are the
patriarchy
dominant
means,
force
bro.
in the world is not
You're
proof that we
describing
live in
patriarchy,
feminism's
friend. You're describing a
conceptualization of the
system of
patriarchy.
oppression. You're
Bro,
describing a patriarchy
yes,
just
patriarchy
because we're
means
You
the
men don't rule
no,
the
dominant
world.
force
you
in
are
power.
misunderstanding what I'm trying to say, and this was my point. Every time I try to articulate myself, y'all overtalk me and interrupt me, and then confuse the point I'm trying to make.
So
Okay,
land.
so I'm going to land right. Okay, what feminism conceptualizes the patriarchy as is completely different from the definitions you gave. Feminism inherently defines the patriarchy as immoral. It sees this system as immoral because it views women as having suffered under this system more than men. And this is patently ridiculous. That's why I don't believe we live in a patriarchy. Not because men aren't the dominant force in society, but rather because I don't believe that women are harmed more by this system than men.
Okay,
okay.
we'll have to
Ulysses,
agree.
can I also add to that? Since we live in a patriarchy by your own volition, where did all your rights come from? Your rights intrinsically came from the patriarchy then. So maybe it's a benevolent patriarchy. You can have
You realize
benevolent and
all the rights.
malevolent patriarchies.
So this is
And
why I asked you what island you came from, because I can't gauge what part of the black diaspora you're from. It's kind of fucking wild for you to be telling a black woman, a descendant of
that is
slaves, that
irrelevant to the
benevolent oppression,
He's
that
conversation.
not from an
benevolent, I'm gonna
island,
finish
huh?
my
He's
point,
from
that
Africa.
That's
Samuel, I'm gonna
irrelevant
let
to the
DTC speak for himself.
conversation.
I'm gonna let DTC speak for himself. I'm letting you know that benevolent exploitation and benevolent oppression is not a good
Patriarchy
thing.
is not mutually exclusive towards oppression because the patriarchy is allowing you to
We're
speak
speaking
right
in the
now.
context of an
But we're
oppressive
talking
structure.
about oppression. You keep trying to change the subject to something else,
No,
dog.
I'm not
Right.
changing look, I reject your
Yes, you
premise that
are,
patriarchy is
bro.
intrinsically
Okay, then fall
oppressive.
off the panel
You
because
I
that's what we're
reject your
talking about.
premise.
How are you gonna reject?
No,
You're
but
gonna
no,
encrust
you
you
can say
yourself.
the
guys you
premise.
guys are
I
trying
reject your premise
You're
outright.
encrusting yourself in a conversation and trying to say I disagree
You
with you,
have
but
to
I'm coming from a completely
demonstrate.
different. context.
No, I
Right, you're
listen.
trying to present
You
this sort of
could get
axiomatic.
DTC's dick out of your mouth.
No,
Let's
like
no.
anyway,
Let's
see
take this
right
step
there,
by step.
you talk about the
Sorry.
patriarchy and then do some patriarchal shit like that. Like
No,
you're
Oh, I
fucking
thought the
goofy as
patriarchy didn't
hell. Shut the fuck up.
exist. I
Anyways,
thought it didn't exist.
shut
I
up,
never
shut
said it
up,
didn't
shut up.
exist. I
No.
The
think it
point
exists, and
is
I
you're
think
trying
it's
to
good.
So
present the
sorry.
patriarchy as under this
Did you just
axiomatic belief
acknowledge
that it's
patriarchy?
inherently oppressive. It's not.
Yes, it's not inherently oppressive, and that's what the
Because it's
problem we're
benevolent.
having
The
right
patriarchy
now.
gave me my rights because it took it away.
Okay, and you guys are
You
talking
never.
about
Oh wait,
a
we're
theoretical
talking
world.
past each other. Can no? Since we want to go into political science, let's go into it. Let's go step by step. Let's define these terms. Let's define these terms. What is a right? I'll give you. You give me my definition. You give me your definition. I'll give you mine, and then we'll continue from there. What's a right?
You want that one, Yanni, or what? Oh, everybody got muted again.
No, they're not muted. They muted themselves. I just wanted. I
Okay.
want to answer to
So
my
you want
question
my
so we don't
definition
talk
of
past
what
each
rights
other.
are?
Yes, please.
Yeah, but I feel that this is an irrelevant.
I know,
No,
I'm just
it's
saying
not
this is
relevant.
relevant to
No,
what we're
I'm gonna
talking
get to
about.
it. I'm
No,
gonna get
it's
to it
relevant. What does that matter? That's really
because all of this
we're not
all
gonna
of this
go back and
oppression.
forth about what's your definition? What's my definition? Like there's only one definition of what a right is. So we're not gonna
No, there's not one. There's
who's
not one
is
definition.
more right. That's dumb. There's an actual literal definition. That's what everybody should be going by. If you don't know what it is, then look it up. But the point is, you're talking about. I don't even know what reference you're trying to make. I heard you make a comment saying, "Who gave you your rights?" So that in itself explains the patriarchy. If men gave women their rights, absolutely. Can women give men any rights? No. So this is what we mean when we're saying we are oppressed and we are under patriarchy. All of our rights, so called, came from men. And if we want to have any more rights in the future, who do we have to ask? Men. So this
That's
is what
infantilization.
we are in a
No,
patriarchal system. For y'all are trying to compare. Oh, are men more oppressed or women are more oppressed? Like it's honestly bullshit. And that's why I say
that's not my premise.
women should not give a shit about men's issues because it's a joke. Why would I care about the oppressor? You're fucking
Okay, can I engage?
This is the
No,
problem.
can I
This is the
engage?
problem
No,
with that
wait, no, wait.
perspective.
Can I have 1 second?
I
Bro,
didn't
let him
cut
finish.
any
That
of
was
y'all
pretty
off.
wicked.
I didn't cut any of y'all off at all.
Okay.
I've been sitting here completely silent, so don't do it to me.
Sorry, I was waiting.
At the end of the day, y'all are trying to play the oppression Olympics when in reality, women shouldn't even give a fuck about men's issues because women are the ones being oppressed. Men are also affected by patriarchy. I understand that. But they're being affected by men. Men are oppressing them under the system of patriarchy. But y'all are willing to continue to perpetuate patriarchy because you benefit from it. As much as women and men suffer, you benefit because you get to be superior than women. You get to give the rules out. So nobody cares about your so-called perceived issues at the end of the day. Any problems that men have are caused by men. And if men want them to get fixed, men are the ones who have to solve it. Women can't
White
fix their
men.
issues. So why should we give a fuck about them?
And this is what I was talking about
Okay.
earlier. This is incredibly dishonest because when we conceptualize when we conceptualize oppression, we view it almost exclusively from this societal level. But why wouldn't we consider women abusing their children a form of oppression? Women unaliving their infants, predominantly boys, a form of oppression. Why don't we view this
Why are
as
you
oppression?
prioritizing
Because
boys?
hold on.
Yeah, that's true.
It literally is a form of oppression, and you ignore it because you,
No,
as
we
women,
agree.
don't want to take accountability for
We
your own
agree.
actions. Hold on. You don't want to take accountability for your actions and how they influence other people. You don't want to have to look out into the world and realize that guy who's a misogynist and hates women because he was abused by his mother, not because
Damn.
he was
Or cause and
indoctrinated
effect.
into misogyny under the patriarchy. No, his mama beat his ass for the littlest things. She neglected him. She didn't feed him. She did all types of effed up stuff. That's
what you're
why he hates
describing?
women. Y'all don't want to accept the role that
That's
you
very
play in
true,
the
You know
way
what you're
people
describing is that
view society.
children
It's
in
not
a
all men.
patriarchy
That's the
Children in a
point.
patriarchy are disenfranchised. They're the
I
most
don't. No, 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 no,
disenfranchised
no, no.
class.
Women don't get to blame their behavior on men or the
Let me tell
patriarchy
you
or
something.
whatever. You
I'm gonna
have to
finish
take
my point.
accountability
I'm
for
gonna
Sorry,
your
finish my
actions.
point.
Ulysses.
What you're
Get out.
saying
We're
is
not
not
gonna do
wrong.
that. We're not gonna do that because the reality is the
Yes, you will
solution.
do that. Yes, you will do that. Men are
No,
not
we won't.
taking
No, actually, I'm
responsibility for
not.
your
Actually, I'm
actions.
very much
We're
not.
done with it.
And again, I'll let you speak. So why do you keep interrupting? You keep going. So
Bad
now
faith.
there's a response time.
That's what I'm saying.
At the end of the day, no, we're not gonna address it. We're not gonna hold women accountable for your perceived oppression. Why are we focused on the so-called
Oppression or actual oppression.
effects of oppression, the systems of oppression,
We're talking about child abuse.
of oppression, when you fail and you consistently have not held yourself accountable for oppression overall? In fact, you're trying to bullshit and get up here and act like, oh, patriarchy doesn't even really exist, and if it did exist, it affects men more than women. No, we're not going to play that bullshit.
You didn't say that. See, you put words in my mouth.
Can I get a chance to engage now?
Honestly,
Again,
did you
the
see?
example is you keep trying to bring up the
I'm trying to
smallest.
engage. No.
You keep trying to bring up the
Fucking small.
smallest factors.
Just because you are the one who
It's not
perpetrated
small,
it
man.
doesn't make it.
You're trying to
Can
bring
I
It's
up
can
not
I just say
small.
side to prove
Child abuse is one of the biggest
That's not
issues in
small,
society.
man.
what you're
You don't get to write
describing
that.
is ageism.
you
What you're
keep
describing
talking
is
about
ageism.
Define
you keep talking
women
about
abusing children
infanticide,
right now.
Euclid?
Women
which
killing
is a
children.
small
That
part of the. Please keep muting him. You talk about infanticide, which is a small portion, but you yet to mention femicide, which is literally
common is femicide.
that are unaliving women literally for just being women. So you are failing to hold yourself
Common is it?
accountable for the patriarchal system in at all.
How common is it?
Black women are the highest earner in the black
Can
community,
can I?
so
Sorry,
Okay.
women
I
are
don't want to be
leading, and
disrespectful. Can I
you're
engage
wrong
in the
about
argument
that.
now?
DTC, go
Sorry, can
ahead.
I engage
You
now?
said how
Okay.
common is it? In
So,
Sudan right now, I think it's like
sorry, the
every
host.
40 minutes
Sorry.
a woman is being like
Okay.
5 women are being
She
raped or
got
something like that.
That,
that's
that
not
that's
even
Wow.
true.
wrong. That's sorry. Can I engage? Can I engage in the argument, please? Sorry, please. I'm sorry, host. I did get your name. I don't want to be respectful. Is it Ayana? Sorry, I can't pronounce it.
Yes.
Um, you said why are definitions important? Definitions are and semantic delineations are very important in debate, so we don't talk past each other. If you're realizing it, a lot of us are talking past each other because we have different conceptualizations of meanings. Like when I ask what's a right, it's not self-evident to everybody because rights intrinsically, especially secular rights, don't really exist. They are highly subjective. So semantics are very important in debate. But going on to the which you said I never stated that patriarchy didn't exist. Maybe that was Ulysses' point. Patriarchy does exist because there's a force multiply. No, sorry, there's a force multiplying in evident. Biology is real, and people respect strength. Not just men. Women also respect strength, and such there will always be an upward movement to those who have the utmost strength and utmost level of presence. But I was not. I don't know if you guys were playing the You said the Oppression Olympics type of thing. I really don't care about that. But let's say if we are going to play the Oppression Olympics. Let's name the grievances of women throughout history. Women have always been a protected class from the Paleolithic period to the Mesopotamian era. They may not have the same conceptual rights as we deem it now, but they were always a protected class. That's why we have terms such as women and children of the board first. That's why we have them. That's why men had to die and go to war because they are deemed as expendable. Men have always been the expendable gender. So they have personal grievances, fine. Men also have personal grievances that cost their lives. And that's the highest thing you can give is your life. There's no level of personal grievance that women can give that can cost their life. And you also mentioned femicide rates. Femicide rates are very, very small. I just looked at it other day. It's legit under 1%. It's blown up in the media because it gets clicks. But when you actually look at the statistics, women are a very safe group worldwide. Are there some places that they are more unsafe than others? Yes. But that's
Bro,
all
but
of a system
the
of the
women are telling
patriarchy.
you,
No,
dog,
I'm almost
listen, you're
done. Huh?
looking at
That's all of
but
benefit
no,
of
but
the
you're saying
patriarchy.
something that's
Austin, let him
false,
Because
land. Let him
bro.
sorry,
land.
Bro,
I'm
Go ahead.
you do
almost
not know how
sorry.
to shut the fuck up.
Sorry,
Why you
I
so
can make it
rude,
finish. No,
bro?
I want to no. Sorry,
Keep
let me
interrupting people.
say
Shut
your
up.
point. Say your point. No, I want to hear his point. What you were saying? Sorry. Go ahead. I want to tangle the issue. What are you saying?
Go ahead. I don't want to get cursed out by my
No,
father over here.
no. That's fine. I want to hear your point. Come. I
Don't
like
call me
engaging in
daddy.
debates.
Euclid, you're
No,
really
can I hear
weird.
your point? Can I hear your point? What's your name? I want to hear what you were to say. Sorry.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. It's gone.
No, but
Land.
I'm interested in your point. Okay. But all right, let me go back to what I was saying. Sorry. You said you guys keep focusing on the authority and the power men have. You have yet to address the responsibility. Men also have responsibility that comes with that power. And very few men actually have that power if the patriarchy even exists, which I believe it
Are
does.
we going
It's
in
probably
order on
1% of
here, or
men.
what's going on?
Okay, sorry. It's probably 1% of men
Samuel,
have that
go take
power.
a glass of
Because I'm
water.
like, what?
Most of men are in poverty, and there's no other system that is better than patriarchy. Because when you eliminate patriarchal values, do you know what happens? Because this has been tried throughout history over and over again. Another society that has patriarchal values overtakes your society, and then the women, the most vulnerable people, suffer, which are the women. This is
So that
self-evident
implies we
throughout
have less
history.
power. That implies
Yes,
that
you
we have
have
less
less power
power.
because you're physically inferior.
Huh?
That's self-evident. You're physically inferior, so you have less power.
We're
BTC.
physically inferior,
Let
or
me ask
men
you a
have
Yes.
upper
question.
body strength and women have lower body strength, and what you're saying is inherently sexist.
That's semantics.
That's
Like
not
BTC,
you
let me ask
semantics.
you a
I
you
know you
got
question.
love
me
that
That's
word. I
the
know
feeling
you
same
take
thing
without
I
the
exception
fact.
to
said.
what semantics mean
It
today.
is
That's
it's an
great.
objective
You got
fact.
to
On
expand. You got to
average,
expand
men
your
are
vocabulary. I'm
physically
glad.
superior to women. Don't
Euclid,
cry about it.
listen.
It's
Everybody
a
was
fact.
chill. Everybody was chill until you came on here telling people to shut the fuck
I
up.
don't care. You lying.
I
That's
know
why I
you don't
came up
care
here.
because you don't feel responsible for your fellow human being because you keep using children, an
You,
unprotected
girl,
class, as
you
a
said
talking point,
disrespectful
as a
shit. You are
talking
in no
point,
position
as a
to
talking
Bro, no
point,
one
pontificate.
was
Cut
as
it
being
a
out.
disrespectful to
talking
you.
point.
Hop
Are
in
you
here.
done? Are you regulated?
Yeah,
Are
guys,
Because
if
my
we
you
can
brother.
go one at
regulated?
a
So
time so we
DTC,
can
as you
hear
were
you.
saying,
It's all noise, so if I can hear you. What were you saying? Sorry, Miller.
can you continue what you were saying?
No, you asked me a question. You asked me if women are physically inferior. Yes, they are physically inferior, objectively.
Okay, and I responded to that by saying science has refuted that fact. It has refuted that claim.
Where? I'm a
You
Where
biotechnologist.
have
has
Where
science
science.
science?
refuted
Where?
this?
Euclid,
Where? No,
chill
I'm
your
saying.
shit for like 5 seconds. I know
Okay.
daddy and mommy used to beat on you and now you struggle to regulate your
See,
emotions.
look. The more
Yeah,
emotionally
I'm
competent
matching
sex
energy. I'm
will
matching
use
energy
someone's
because you
trauma
can't
to
keep telling
mock them
people to
because
shut
they
the fuck up.
disagree.
You can't keep telling people to shut the fuck up and
Right.
then whine
Shut
when
up,
people match
bitch.
your
Shut the
energy.
fuck
This is
up,
the
you
amount of
dumb
respect
bitch.
you have
Shut
given.
the fuck
This is
up.
the amount of respect you will receive. Now,
Ulysses,
mommy is done
Your mouth
spanking
Ulysses,
you.
we
We
don't
gotta
need to
go.
name
Put
call.
Shut the
yourself on
fuck up,
Ulysses,
mute.
we
you
don't
dumb.
need.
Put yourself on mute
Thank
because
Ulysses,
you're
we
you.
don't
Thank
need to
trying.
you.
name
Thank you.
call.
Homie had to go.
We don't
Thank
need to
You
you.
name call.
DTC, you didn't have an issue with
Yeah.
name calling until I engaged in the same
No.
behavior. So miss me
No,
with
I'm
that
no. I said
move.
no. I was saying Ulysses. I legit just said Ulysses. We don't need to name call. I said Ulysses. We don't need to name call. I
So
never said you.
BTC, right? The point you made earlier, I
Uh
wanted
huh.
to question you on. So
Uh huh.
are you coming at this from a patriarchal stance, being that you said the patriarchy is biologically evident, as in it's in all of nature, correct? That's what you're saying.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Majority of nature, vast
Which
majority.
if you had to I'm going to teach you something that was put into us what is it? It's to program us to think that way, right? So which
Okay.
animal do you think we are most close to genetically and socially?
Genetically, that would be
It's
chimpanzees.
the bonobo ape. It is not chimpanzees.
I'm gonna check that right now because
Listen,
I'm
me
pretty
and
sure
you
it's
taught you that.
chimpanzees.
Do you
The
know how
genealogy
bonobo
of
apes
human
interact?
beings is closest to
Listen, let
chimpanzee,
me tell
but you
you real
can go
quick.
ahead. I'm gonna take it.
Do you know how bonobo apes interact socially? Bonobo apes, when
No, I don't, but you can inform me.
sections, when two tribes of bonobos interact, they are a matriarchal society. The women interact first. There is no violence. Any of the violent males in the pack are ostracized and not bred with, right? That's how their society works. They want us to think that the closest
That
relative we have is chimpanzees because chimpanzees beat the shit out of each other. Okay?
and what's your
Being
evidence? No, what's
expendable.
your
Listen,
evidence of that? Because I have
men
evidence to the
being listen.
contrary.
Let me finish. Men being expendable, like you said earlier, which is true, is a part of the patriarchy. The patriarchy does not mean all men are controlling the world. That's not what we're talking about socially. We're
Yes,
talking
yes, it
about,
does,
well, I
Austin. So
mean,
I'm
yeah,
gonna have to
it does. It
disagree
does.
with you.
Just the point I was trying to make right there. I get what you're saying, but I said that wrong. The patriarchy that I was talking about was not every single one of us, because yes, all men play a part in it. I've played a part in it. You've played a part in it as well. What we're getting at is the men who are sent to die in those wars are sent by other men. Women don't send us to die in war, right? Other men are sending you to die in that war. Other
Actually, that's
men are
not true
telling women
also.
But
to stay in the
he
house.
knows that.
That's also
He
not
knows
true.
that. DTC is very
That's all.
intelligent. You seem
Yeah, but
incredibly
what's the point
eloquent.
of that? You literally just said
That's
men.
also not true.
You just said men are physically stronger than women, but then you're complaining about going to war. Okay, you just
I'm not
proved
complaining.
why. That makes the
I've
most
never
logical sense.
complained.
Why would you send a 100-pound woman who's 5 feet to go to war? It doesn't make sense. You're born. If you're born to die, that's just biology. Well, what do you want to do about it? You're complaining about it. Nobody
I've never
cares.
complained. I just
You
stated
said
a
you said
statement. I
oppression
never
of
made a
You're trying
shoulder.
to use that. You're trying to
I
use
said
those
if we
points.
are,
You're trying to use those points as a way to say, "Oh well, this is how." You're trying to make the comparison that women are a protected class, whereas men are not. And you're saying, for example, we have to go to war and we die. Like, who cares? That's what you're supposed to do. You have the physical strength to do it. Like that just makes sense, does it not?
yes, but I remember I've never
Okay, so
complained.
don't
I
use
never
that as
phrased
an
my
excuse.
argument
That's
to a
all I'm
matter
saying.
of a
Don't use
complaint.
that as an
No,
excuse
I've
to
never
act
used.
like you're so oppressed and oh,
I
woe is
never
me.
said we're
Like,
oppressed. I don't consider myself oppressed. I never remember. I said
don't try to
remember
just
back
don't
if
try to
back to my
invalidate the
argument.
fact. My problem with you is that you're trying to diminish the patriarchy and invalidate the experience of a woman. Women are oppressed. I don't
I know
understand why
that's
y'all
what.
are coming up with that. Nobody feels bad for men in the bad decisions that they made.
Before we
We don't
continue,
feel
because I
bad for
don't know if
anybody. I never
DTC is
engaged in
internet.
Operation Olympics. My point was I was saying that even if we're going to engage in Operation Olympics, which I don't care for, all of women's grievances throughout history will be eliminated and be outclassed by the fact that men die.
Right, and
That's
that's
what
what
I
I'm
was saying. I
saying.
made
It
a
sounds
should
dumb.
statement. I
Nobody's
made a
forcing
is
you.
not a should statement.
Nobody is forcing you to join in on the oppression of the Olympics. You make no sense. On one, you're saying,
But he
"Oh,
talked
it's
about
not something that I like
class.
to do, but I'm gonna do it for the sake." Okay, so then your argument is already faulty. There's nothing for you to stand on. And then for you to try to when you play the oppression of Olympic, when you play the oppression Olympics, then you play it bad by saying that you're basically eradicate any of women's woes. That makes no sense.
What I don't
There's
understand
not,
is that he was.
there's nothing at all that men go through that is not men's own issues. That there's nothing that men encounter in the world that can't be fixed by men at all.
That's a fallacy because remember
Okay, so
first we had.
Can you address the
I was
fallacy
just
name
before
going
we
one of
engage
to.
those
then?
red pill issues, name one of those men's issues that cannot be fixed by a man.
You're making an optimist
I asked for
a
one
normal.
example.
I'm
I asked
gonna
for one
I'm
example.
gonna I'm gonna
One
I'm gonna give
thing.
you multiple. I'm gonna give you multiple. I'm just giving context to the argument. You're making a normal policy because this is our only normal state of being. You know, the first interaction, the first thing men had to face was nature, and we still face nature every day because you live in a civilized society. You don't see the primary development of nature. We are able to sit here and even discuss these topics because men are intrinsically protecting you. If another country comes down and men lay down all your arms right now, everything goes everything goes to shit. That's basically it. If men stop building and upkeeping the society which they are responsible for 95% of infrastructure jobs, we all go to shit. Me, you,
You keep
everything.
jumping from one
So
timeline to
patriot.
another.
BTC,
I'm
That's
engaging in the
really
point that she
irrelevant point.
stated.
Can you make it? No, I'm saying a relevant point, and I need you to.
I
You're
just
talking about
stated three.
nature. Both men and women are deal with nature. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about human created issues because we can go down the list and say all the ways that men have specifically made women's lives worse through even just oppression. So I'm
And I
talking
can name
about.
it
So what is it
because
that and really get on that because it's like again, men created men's issues, and y'all are trying to say that's not the case. What issues do women create specifically for men that can't be fixed by a man? Allegedly, whatever you're trying to say. What are these men's
that's
issues? I don't get. What are you so oppressed about? Where's your oppression? That doesn't have to
I
do.
never said
And I'm talking about something you can actually control. not something that nature, whatever the crap you're saying. I'm talking about real stuff.
I never said that men were oppressed. Never once said that. And for every you, so that's
You
what that.
implied
So
it by
you're
mentioning
misrepresenting
poverty.
my point. No, I mentioned it because it's self-evident. It's what is.
So
There are
poverty
six
is a
female
form of
homeless.
oppression.
No, poverty is a form of being. There will always be rich and poor from the very beginning of time
Yes,
because
but that's a hierarchy, a lack
people
of
hoard
distribution of
resources.
power. So that's oppression. That's a
Yes.
structure.
No, that's not oppression.
Okay,
Oppression is
so
the
you don't
active
have an
force
answer.
of
Like,
preventing
I don't
someone
need all
from
that
getting
background.
something.
I don't need all the background. I
No,
asked you
because he
a
said
simple
oppression.
question.
He said oppression. Fucking Olympics, and that's very condescending. And then you mentioned poverty
No, she
as one
mentioned
of
it.
the
I never mentioned it.
initially
That
in your
wasn't
earlier
me.
on. I just held on to
But
the
you did.
fact.
You brought it up to. You said that you didn't like the oppression Olympics, but you were
Uh-huh.
giving a theory on, okay, if we were to play it hypothetically, then this, and when you did that,
This
you
is more
said
valid than the
essentially
other. Yeah.
all women's woes pretty much need to be erased because it doesn't
No,
count for anything
I
because
said
they're still a
verbatim.
protected class. Meanwhile, men are suffering because they have to go to war, and this is again. I just asked you a specific question. What could do men? What issues do women cause directly to men and men
Mm-hmm.
only that can't be fixed by men? If there are any issues at all.
Child abuse, paternity
No, no,
fraud,
sorry.
etc.,
You
etc.
said yeah. So, I was just gonna say that too, but like I don't really consider it the issue. But if you really want to go down the issues, yes, paternity fraud is one because if just by science, when we evaluate the two chromosomes, right?
No, but that
There's a
again,
80. No,
okay.
listen.
No, I
No,
don't need you to
you
go
didn't let me
because
finish.
again, that in itself can be fixed by men. First of all, there's
No,
obviously
it can't.
paternity testing that you can get, and number two, you need to pick better. Pick better men, then it's no problem. Pick better women, right? And then you won't have to worry about not being able to trust somebody. Start having kids with people that you're actually married with, and if you can't trust the person that you're married with to whether or not it's going to be your baby or not, then you clearly married the wrong woman. So that's a completely male issue because y'all can't help who you let your seed off into. Next.
So do you say the same for women who choose the wrong men? They choose a man
You
who's
know, sorry.
abusive
Can
or
I
who cheats
respond?
on them or
Somebody muted
whatever.
me.
They
Women
should
shouldn't
have
No,
chose
choose men at
better. It's
all.
their fault, not the
Absolutely.
man's fault. It's
Absolutely.
their fault
no. Can I
for being
respond?
Absolutely.
stupid,
Wait,
right?
Women shouldn't
wait.
deal with men at
Before we
all.
move away
And then
from
on
this
top of
point,
that, let's not act like DNA tests have always existed. They're like
no, that's what. No,
30,
can
40
So
years
what?
old.
You're not a
Like
victim. Stop
what
putting
about
your
the men
seed in
prior to
everybody.
that?
Stop putting your seed in people. Problem solved. Okay, male issues are you're not oppressed by paternity tests. You're not oppressed by lying about paternity tests. You're
sorry.
not oppressed by that.
So so women could stop being single mothers by just not fucking, right? Quit letting niggas nut in
Why
you,
do
right?
you keep anyway? So
Because it's
point that
testing your
that was
logic. It
irrelevant. So
sounds fucking stupid and
Sorry.
you
Can
don't
I answer your
recognize it
question?
until it's
that
put in
doesn't sound
terms that
stupid.
you
How does it
understand.
sound stupid to stop letting off your seed into women that you
No,
don't
that's not
trust?
stupid.
What's
I agree
stupid?
with
What
you.
We're
what's
not
stupid
saying
No,
that's
about
I
that?
agree.
stupid.
No,
We're saying
okay,
that
so
you
what
are
are you saying is
blaming men
stupid?
for paternity fraud by
No,
saying
I
they
agree with
You're
shouldn't.
you.
not
They should.
oppressed by paternity fraud. You're literally not.
Can I agree with you?
So by your own logic, women who are single mothers, it's 100% their fault, not men's, because they let a bum come in them. That's on them.
I didn't even remotely say that. You're trying to
See,
put words in
you
my
don't want
mouth.
to keep the
You
same
didn't.
logic.
I
That's what
didn't
we're
say
calling
that.
out.
What do you mean I don't want to keep the same logic? You didn't shut up long enough for me to respond. I said multiple times it goes both ways. When I don't think women should be dealing with men at all. So that was your
No, no,
that
no,
was
no,
your
no, no.
twosome.
That's
That was your
ridiculous.
reflection.
That's ridiculous.
Stop
We
talking.
live
That's
in a
two-way street.
society
That's
full of
two-way
men
street.
and
You
women. We
can't
can't
say,
just
"Oh,
not
it's
deal
not
with
fair
each
that you
other.
don't go both ways." Then when I go both ways, then you feel like it's unfair. So now you're just illogical.
You're making bullshit up. What are you
I'm not
saying?
Can
making
I?
bullshit.
What does it mean? Men, women
You
should not
say
deal with men at all.
you're
We
oppressed
live in
by
a
paternity
society
fraud.
together. We can't
You
avoid each other.
claim that you're oppressed by paternity fraud, but I'm the one that's making stuff up.
Can I engage in the point? I have scientific evidence about my point, but I cannot. You asked me a question, and I was going to substantiate it.
With
So
what statistics?
oppression. Can I was
Sociology?
just going
Soft
to no,
science?
no. I'm going to actually go
Um,
into hard statistics.
hard
So
statistics
paternity
done by
fraud.
sociologists, but go
Oh
ahead.
boy. No, it's not done by sociologists. This was actually done by biologists. But okay, so the paternity argument, you said, oh, men are not oppressed by paternity. I make sure I Google the definition of oppression. It's a system in which people are governed unfairly, or are the distribution of laws are unfair and unequal treatment. So we can judge the oppression of paternity fraud because we have both have two chromosomes, right? You know that we have the X, we have the Y. Throughout history, there's only ever been a 40% variation in the Y chromosome. There's a 88% variation in the X chromosome. So that simply means that women have been given the children to the wrong men throughout history. That's a scientific fact because of the variation in the chromosome. So it's not a
Imagine
small
using this
issue. It's just an
above
issue that we
average
have not
intelligence to
ever
be
entered
pushing
on.
these narratives.
No, so I'm not saying it is the truth. You can
You are
please
too,
go and fact
sir,
check
you are
me.
too
If you want
intelligent
to
to be
fact check
using
me,
your
that's
mind
fine.
to argue
That is
these
the truth.
points.
I
That's so
repeat it,
sad.
I'm not
Ulysses.
understanding this
Throughout
oppression. Just
throughout
based on you
history,
reading the definition of oppression alone, this does not
no, I
fit.
was
You're
Well,
not
Ronald
I
Reagan
oppressed
said the
by who
made
scientific.
that one
you.
up.
I just stated the
That
science.
would be like me. That would literally be like me saying, "Oh, single mothers are oppressed." That's stupid. That
I never
doesn't make
said it was
any sense.
oppression.
Nobody's oppressed. You're not oppressed by who you choose to let your seed off in. That's a choice you
No, you're
completely
no.
made. So again, when I talk about again, you're already failing to answer the question because I literally said
I know.
that can be
I'm
fixed
answering your
by.
question.
Well, actually, I said name. I specifically said name a
Mm-hmm.
issue that women specifically create for men that men cannot fix themselves. If women are lying about paternity, that
Paternity
means you need
fraud.
to pick better. Stop sleeping around with women who you
And I'm
cannot
saying
show
That's
it's not
me.
it's
insane.
not a
It's like
choosing
if I
argument.
go marry a woman
Oppression.
assuming that she's a
You are
good
not
person because
oppressed
she
with
I'm
she
not
paternity
able
didn't
to
give
fraud.
me
engage
That's
in
any
not
reason to
conversation.
oppression.
not trust her, and then
Not
she commits
oppression. That's
paternity
not
fraud.
oppression.
Sorry, host.
Even by definition that you just read, that is literally not oppression. So what is your next
No,
point? So you giving you giving
no.
zero responses. You want to
Define
call yourself
oppression.
oppressed. You
I
Define
giving
lit
oppression
zero
for us.
responses.
just defined the
Define
word, and then
oppression
I
for
backed it up. Then I backed it up through
define it. We
scientific
want to hear her
evidence.
definition.
No, wait, let me finish, please. Just give me a second.
Oh, my
You
bad.
asked me a question, what personal grievance and women do that is unilateral towards men. The only one of the own personal grievances that is of paternity fraud, which is true, and I've substantiated that by scientific evidence through 5,000 years of evolutionary biology. We have a 40% deviation in the Y chromosome and an 88 deviation in the female chromosome. That means that 40% of males throughout history have reproduced and 88% of women have reproduced. And the only conclusion to draw from that is that paternity fraud has been going on from the very inception of time. It was not a matter of choosing somebody, it's just self evident as that. Paternity fraud is a personal grievance. So I did answer your question. Whether
But
you want to trivialize it or
Not a
not, it is
systemic
backed
issue.
by
okay, are
scientific
you
development.
done? Are
It
you
is a
done?
systemic. What's it? Okay, I'm done. Go ahead.
That's not oppression. Yet again, you wasted my time
Oppression. Define
going
it.
through these breakdowns and these numbers. That
Define
is literally not
oppression.
oppression. You
Define
can say the
oppression.
essence right there. If you can sit here and
Define
say, if you
oppression.
can sit
Euclid,
there and
DTC
you can
already did.
literally say, "Oh,
Her
this has been
definition.
going on since the beginning of time." Okay, so you know the knowledge. So now what does that mean? That means that now you need to be very, very picky about who you choose to lay with. So again, this means that your problem is solved. Nobody is forcing you to sleep with these women who are lying. Nobody's forcing you to sleep with women at all. So you're still not, it's still not clicking what I'm asking you. Nothing that you just mentioned cannot be solved by men keeping their dick inside of their pants.
Okay,
So
so
again, do you
infanticide.
have any
Infanticide.
other because now
How
we've
do men
wasted
stop
all this
women from
time.
killing babies?
Do you have any answer that
How do
actually
men
is
stop women from
valid in
killing
relation to
babies?
what I said?
How do men stop women from
Policy.
You
Go
don't
make a
stop
policy.
women from lying. You
policy?
stop
We
sleeping
have
with
to make a
women.
policy to get you to not kill your own babies. This is why women shouldn't have any
That's
power.
the only point that y'all can go to. All you
I'll
can
tell
No,
go
you
no,
to is
it's
how.
That's
not.
it.
There are
You
that's
said
plenty of
not
nothing
points.
got
You're just
oppression.
ended.
moving the
You're not
goalposts when they're presented.
babies are
No, I
not
answered your
oppressed by
question.
being
You asked me a
unalive. It's
question.
not the
It is
thing.
policy.
Policy,
You're
It's
policy
talking
law.
is not an effective answer to
Yes,
prevent
it
women
is
from
because
abusing and
insurance
killing their
companies
That is
children.
will
not your
not
No,
answer.
no, it's
provide
You
not.
care
mostly
to women 24 to
Stop
48
killing your
hours
babies.
after.
Men shouldn't have to introduce policy to get you to
Do
Bro,
do
you know
that.
stop
what
You
cutting people
postpartum
fucking
off. Why are
depression
you
is?
cut?
Do you know what postpartum depression is? for women who give birth
Are
to carry a
justifying
child for
killing
9 months?
babies. I'm
He's
sick of
gonna
y'all.
call
I'm
out
sick of
I'm
this
gonna
shit.
Patriarchy.
I'm
tell
fucking
you.
sick of this. Shut up, you dumb bitch. Why are y'all justifying killing babies, you stupid
So
whores?
It's
based
not
so based
This
justifying,
is
it's
why you deserve
preventing.
so based on
why
what
you
Euclid
deserve
had given us
everything
as a
men do to you.
reason
You
for
actually think it's acceptable to just
Who
so
said that?
based on
shut
what
up,
Euclid
dumb
had
bitch. Shut
offered
up.
us as a
Shut
reason
up.
as to why
We
there's
do you
misogyny,
Host,
Euclid is basically
everything we
admitting that
do
he
to you.
keeps raging out because his mother was
Deserve to be
abusive
raped
towards
and
him.
murdered and
There you go.
Oh
sorry,
my
host,
justified.
can I,
god.
Based on
host,
his
Oh, they
own
show their
theory.
true
Shut up,
colors.
bitch.
host,
See? His
Shut
host,
up,
mama
you
was
dumb
mean, and
hoe.
now look.
You dumb
host.
ass
He could
bitch.
go to
I'm
better he
sick of
could
y'all
go to better
stupid
health.
hoes. You
He could go to
actually
better
think
health.
it's okay
Yo,
to
Euclid,
justify
Euclid, Euclid,
killing
Euclid.
babies.
Lock in real quick. Thank you for getting rid of him,
Sorry,
dog.
host.
I don't even understand
You
how
were
he got
saying,
back on here.
so you were saying that oppression though, but the thing about it is
Oh
that
damn! I want to talk to
you're
Euclid. He was funny as hell.
okay. You're talking about
Samuel,
oppression.
you
I
are
never said.
occupying space that could be given to somebody
Remember,
who has something to offer.
I never said that men were oppressed, but I'm saying that everyone was oppressed. It's a matter of human biology and force multiplication.
And then right
And the
before you
reason,
came in here, we were talking
Mhm.
about that. That's what I'm saying. You're creating division, dog. We were talking about how we're all oppressed, but we have to focus on the way the oppression is being used, right? Black women are the most vulnerable people on earth. That is a scientific, philosophical, sociological, that is a fact.
Uh-huh.
They are the most vulnerable human beings on this
Substantiate that,
planet.
please. Substantiate that point.
What's the
Please
what's the
There's
demonstrate
infant
no
it.
what's the
point in
infant mortality? Listen,
substantiating
what
that
is
because
the
he's
what? Look
Austin.
up the
He's
infant
already shown
mortality rate.
us he's already shown us that he has above average intelligence and comprehension skills. So he's misusing it for like I don't know what his moral value system is, but he knows that. He already knows that. But he called it oppression Olympics. So he doesn't have the emotional intelligence
You
or the
cannot.
moral value or the political values to value what you're saying. What you're putting down on the table, he's not going to pick it up.
Mm, right.
Emotional intelligence is the means of which you internalize emotion and you direct it towards reasonable solutions. So when you say you don't know emotional intelligence,
Do
you're
you
being
have
controlled by
friends or do you only
emotions.
fuck with
It's
the
actually a
sisters?
lack of emotional intelligence.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Are we
You
gonna
saying a
engage in the
lot of random
arguments or
stuff.
not?
Can I
But what can you just
She
pinpoint
legit
exactly
does
what it
use
is that you're
emotional
saying?
intelligence
Every time I
wrong.
regurgitate, who
Okay, so you want me to get more
cares?
specific as to one of the components of emotional intelligence? Empathy. You lack the
You
empathy.
you
You lack
you
sympathy.
you
You have no emotional attachment to the human man, your brother. You have no attachment or sense
actually
of
I
belonging.
can
You sound like an
empathy.
individualist.
Mhm.
You sound like an individualist. You don't think about the collective. You're not worried about hierarchies and misdistributions of power. You are out here debating black people about who's really disenfranchised and what kind of oppression actually matters. Everyone's oppressed. You're not actually offering any solution. Where we were on here talking and all in good faith from different ideologies, different point of views, different walks of life, and we found a common ground. And you and Euclid, you I guess are more articulate than Euclid, but I would like to highlight the fact that the most divisive and emotionally deranged person on this panel agreed with everything you were saying. So at the end of the day, you guys have more in common than you like to admit. You just have more seven-word syllable words in your vocabulary.
Maybe we do, but that doesn't make him wrong. So I just want to get down to the truth of the matter. So let's get
wait,
down to the truth of
make
the
him
matter.
wrong in
That's
his
all.
can I make one point and then I'll get off because
Okay.
um uh when it comes to specifically what he was arguing, um the reason why laws and policies would help the eradication of fetal, that type of unaliving.
Mhm.
Women with insurance, if you are privileged enough to have insurance, women with insurance, they it's only paid for 24 hours to 48 hours after their delivery. And the only time that it will be paid for beyond that is if there's a dire complication. So the fact that a woman carried a child for 9 months, gave birth, I don't know if you've listened to women talk about giving birth, but obviously it's pretty fucking intense. Um, the only time they'll get anything paid for like a stay and with help from nurses is if there's a complication beyond 24 hours to 48 hours. So and then law wise, how what is maternity leave? What, 6 weeks after carrying a child for 9 months? You know what I mean? Like the fact that there's such a lack of help for women after giving birth will lead to that because there isn't even conversation on postpartum depression.
Can I engage with that? I sorry, but we are really suffering from a normalcy
And then let's
bias
not,
here. When
let's even
sorry,
and then that's
I was able to provide my argument. We're suffering from a normalcy bias here. We live in the most prosperous, richest, and most technologically advanced period in human history.
we
If
are
you're
living in the
talking that
most
we don't,
classist
no, we're
society.
not.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
What
Do you
let
think we're
let him
more
land because I'm
classes?
curious
Do you
about
think
where
we're
this is
more
going.
classes now than in the 1850s? That is objectively false. We are living in the most prosperous period in human history. Most of us are richer than kings that existed in the past. Just the
I
fact
agree
that
with
we're
you.
able to
I agree
engage,
with you.
just
We
the
we
fact that
have
we're able
we
to
have
engage in this
progress.
discussion, we suffer from an optimism bias. So are there problems in our society? I can grant you that yes, but it still doesn't change that we're living in
Hey
the most
man, you been
beneficial
talking all
society
night,
ever.
ain't you?
Okay, go ahead.
But you
It's
understand that
somebody else's turn.
that kind of social progress is due to people like us, not to people like you. As far as I'm concerned, what you've been saying is, oh well, shit is good enough. Why are you guys pointing out the discrepancies distribution of power?
Never said that. I said
If we
your
were to throw this back
I
300
said your
years,
distribution. I said
your
your
reasoning
definition of
hasn't contributed to
distribution
the
is wrong.
progress you're talking to.
My
And
reason
then
has actually contributed to the project you're
My
talking about
definition of
because
what is wrong.
I said your
DTC.
What
sorry.
definition? What word am I misusing?
I said the grievances you're stating is obvious is quite often drawn from a faulty conclusion. That's what I'm saying. That's why it is drawn from a faulty premise.
DTC. So
Yes.
So we're exaggerating.
when you have an action
Ayana,
implemented and then there
Ayana, you gotta
is a
restart your live.
reaction.
It's gonna get banned. You have to restart it.
What?
That's cause
What's your life going to get banned
whatever that
for?
nigga with the
No,
I'm
it's
sorry,
not.
whatever that dude with the E name kept saying crazy stuff. You have to restart your live. You gonna get banned.
I don't think so. I think that's just a spam comment.
Say in live to avoid
Oh,
permanent
that?
ban.
Like, that's definitely not TikTok.
No.
That's
I
not
seen that
TikTok
in the
saying
Comment.
comments.
that.
That's a random person who commented that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they do that
They're
sometimes.
they're just
It's
spam.
a bot.
All right,
So
bye.
Melanie,
Whether I
you
been, and
said
that's
that
not even how that works. Whether I been in the live or
yeah.
not.
It would clock up. Sorry, it's a Millie. Millie, you said that I lack empathy and sympathy. You lived in. I'm pretty sure
Yanni,
you guys live in America, right? If I'm not making any presumptions, right?
no, I don't.
Okay, sorry. I lived in
No,
one
I
of the.
don't live in
I live.
America,
I've lived in
The United States of America.
I've lived in one of the poorest countries in the world, with the highest crime rate in the world. So I'm quite familiar with struggle and evidence, and I'm also quite familiar with solutions. The solutions are never to sit there and complain about it. The solution is to work harder, make better decisions, and organize.
But we're
But we
not
have a
complaining.
problem
We're
with this.
organizing right now. You realize that we weren't
We
complaining.
were organizing before
Yeah,
you
we were
came
not
in.
complaining.
Yeah,
We're literally
but you
organizing.
also we
That's what
also
we're
need to
doing.
make sure that we come to sound conclusions and make sure that our historical
That's what
record
we
are
were
correct.
doing. That's what we were doing. We were doing
I had
that.
to correct you. I had to Google many times
You
about
haven't done that
historical
at
things, just
all.
as
So
like
what are you talking about? So
just
you're
even
admitting
even
you haven't come in
So
here
you're admitting
to
to being a
discuss
contrarian.
solutions. Because you
no.
derailed the entire conversation to talk about this bullshit that you're spouting. Then you have this kumbaya ass response, but you're not doing anything of what you just said.
I never had a kumbaya
So what
response
is
when
your
I
point?
came in.
What's the relevancy of that statement? You're not doing anything that you said.
No, I never had a
All you're
kumbaya
doing is playing
response.
blind and acting like you don't see issues.
No, I never had a
You just
kumbaya
did.
response. No, I said that's how
You
But
people
said
what's your
do.
finding a
point? Like I
solution. All
said,
you
you
guys
get
are
to
doing.
Oh,
one general point.
I came into the argument mid conversation and
You said
addressed the
finding a
argument mid
solution.
conversation. And I said, in order to come to sound conclusions, we have to follow the scientific method and historical precedents so that the solutions actually stick. That's what I said.
But don't you have to also understand where the issue comes from? And
That's what I said. Historical precedents.
yes, and so the issue with classism specifically, which I personally, I'm speaking personally, I feel like is one of the biggest issues in particularly America right now. It literally comes from the government and their laws and policies when it comes to redlining, when it comes to school to prison pipeline. Those are racist. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I apologize. But like, and governmentally done policies to create this environment we live in now. So we can't complain about the environment we live in now when what we've really like if you're from America or pay attention, we should talk about where this even came from.
We already know where it comes from, but we also know that these were our products of decisions.
But why
Those
don't we talk
we
about
all
it?
have
We we were we were
we
talking about
exhaust those
solutions. We were
topics,
talking about collective mindset
but the thing about it
I
is that
apologize.
the
based
thing
on your
about it is that
perspective, and you came in 3/4 into the conversation.
and that's what I'm saying. To be fair, I engage in the part of the conversation that I knew. I came into the live
You
midstream.
weren't fair. You
So
weren't fair because you came in with a lot of unchecked biases, because
what
you were
biases do I have?
decontextualizing a lot of things.
Okay, let's go through my biases.
You
What
can't
biases
sit there
do
and
a
tell me
person
that
may have?
that's not a dog. I'm gonna finish my points. I'm gonna finish
Hmm.
my point. So one of the things that I knew you were coming from a disingenuous point of view is because you use dog whistling terms like
Huh?
oppression politics, no, Olympics. You use
Olympics,
oppression
because yes, it's a
Olympics as
popular
if to it
vernacular.
was very I know you don't have to explain your intent. I'm gonna tell you what that means in the context of the conversation we were having before you encrusted yourself and derailed it. It's a way to tell people that what they're discussing it has very little value, and we shouldn't complain about the quality of life that we have in the global north. But you took the assumption upon yourself that some of us are not from the global north, some of us are from the global south, and so we don't have the same social currency and the same passports that come with said passport. So you made a lot of assumptions. You also used another sexist dog whistle by saying that women were dominated because they're physically inferior to men, not taking into account that that has been debunked contemporarily, that it's just a question of men having upper body strength and women having lower body strength. That's why we
Wait,
can birth and you can't, for many reasons. I don't know why you're saying what weights. I give you a lot of time to go on your monologues, your Shakespearean monologues, so you're gonna wait and you're gonna finish until I finish my point. What I'm telling you is that we were having a very good faith conversation from completely different walks of life and different ideologies and coming up with solutions. You decided to be a contrarian, to come in with whataboutism. You wanted to inject yourself. You also implied that political science, social sciences are a soft science, and then you said it was a pseudoscience, like those are synonymous or we're just playing semantics. You've sidestepped intellectually a number of times, and I've told you that there is no point in engaging a conversation with you because you've demonstrated that you don't mind going from one timeline to so one timeline it's hunter gatherer, and the next thing you know it's about men uh they have to stay on the boat. That's why we always say that women are a protected class, children are a protected class, and that's why they have to, exit the boat. So now we're talking about the 19th century or the 18th century. You keep jumping from different timelines. You're so slippery, we can't even shut you down. So this is bad faith for you to now end the conversation in a loop of, well, I came in here to fact check you guys, to give you context and definitions because we have to come to solutions. You guys are optimistic. You're talking down to us. You've been
I've never.
condescending a matter of times. We caught you in a number of different fallacies, and every time we held you accountable to those fallacies, you sidestepped some more. So this is why we know that this is bad faith. You didn't come here to articulate a point or move the global collective forward. You came here to make a point, to jerk your pseudo intellectualism.
First of all, I never, I never said I came in here for that. And second of all, I just want to go
It's
back this
implied.
by point
We're
by point.
intelligent enough to pick up on your
No,
intentions.
point. Let's go by. Let's go through this point by point. When has it been poll that women are physically inferior to men? Because I'm pretty sure you're going to come with the argument of lower body strength which is also not true. Women have certain muscles in their pelvic region that are stronger than men because they have to give birth. That does not
Well, so now
imply
you
that
want to
their
get
lower body strength
specific.
are stronger.
Now you want to
No,
get specific. Now
you
we
said
have
it was
nuance.
debunked. No, you said it was debunked. That's a
It has
clear
been debunked,
term.
and
It was
you're
not
saying you're getting
debunked.
specific. You're isolating.
No,
You're
all right.
decontextualizing the study.
Let's all right, please restate your point. You said men being physically superior to
Ooh.
women have been debunked. Where has it been debunked? I will look for it right now.
DTC, can you answer to the fact that you have on many occasions sidestepped, contradicted
No,
yourself, and engaged in fallacies because you
I
can't even
don't know.
isolate one chronology? We're
First of
talking
all,
about hunter gatherer, a completely different era of
because
Homo sapiens,
it was in reference. I did talk about. I
to
said it
nature
was in
versus.
reference. It was in reference to the point of where power and hierarchical structures come from. So that was
Also, there
relevant to
are
the
hierarchies of power.
conversation. I said that from the beginning. I never
So then
remember.
why would you
Ulysses the one
follow
that
up?
said
Why
that
would
there's
you
no
follow
paper
up with oppression
patriarchy.
Olympics? Is that inherently a
Remember,
whistle?
because no, listen. Just because my premise is that just because there's a patriarchy does not mean that it is oppressive. Patriarchies do not have to
And
be
then
inherently
so we
oppressive.
fundamentally disagree. We fundamentally
Yeah,
disagree.
but
You have come in
I
with a
can
completely different
demonstrate it.
definition of patriarchy.
No, so you demonstrate it. I can demonstrate many times where patriarchies are not oppressive. You can't. You
How?
can
Give me an
demonstrate it on
example.
this.
Okay.
You
Give a
demonstrate.
practical example how a system that is dominated by a group of people does not inherently oppress another group of people.
Sis, he's about to waste your time.
Okay, then I'll retract the statement then.
I could
Because
answer
I
your
don't understand
question.
how that exists. I don't understand
I
how
could.
you have any social system that is dominated by a singular group of people that, by virtue of trying to manage and maintain their power, would not innately try to suppress and oppress the power of another group. And even if you're saying, like, I'm from this country, okay, but you live in the world that is post-imperialism. And you know what language you're speaking right now? English. You know what language we're speaking right now? English. You know what none of
I
us
speak
ever
two
were born
languages.
speaking? English. Sir, are you missing the point on
You
purpose?
see
Like,
what he just did?
are you being willfully obtuse? Because that's a
Yes.
triangle. Be the best
No,
triangle that you want to be, but
I
just like
can.
not here. Like, be a
I can.
square. Square
I
speak
can answer
English.
your
I
question.
You know,
speak
we're
several
speaking the
languages.
same
We're
language
speaking
for a
English.
reason. Like, that doesn't
I
make
can.
sense. You're literally a product of that which you're saying that you're not subjected to because you
I never.
speak the king's English. That doesn't make sense.
Okay, can I address your points now? First
No,
of all,
because
you said
Millie was still
okay.
talking. So, Millie, you want the mic
Okay,
or
go ahead.
not? Like,
Go ahead,
what's
Millie.
going on?
Go ahead, Millie.
Stop
Can we
playing with
go point
I
by
everybody's
don't know
mind.
why
point?
he's
Like,
telling me
you've been
go
out here
ahead.
for like the last 50, 11 minutes talking about some bullshit. No, nobody understand what you saying, where you going, what road you on, railroad, transatlantic, slave. No, nobody know where you going. What are you doing right now? It's late. Get to the point.
People got work in the morning.
Blacks, people got work in the morning. We Negroes, we got to get these wages, fam.
Okay, that's fine. Let's go point by point. You ask me a question and I'll answer it directly. Come on, let's go ahead. Because
Okay,
since
check
you
this
said I'll
out.
give
So,
you.
so part of what you were saying earlier. First off, you came in hot, right? This is a learning lesson, right? Right, brother to brother. The women are telling us that they're oppressed. For you to then repeat, for you to then say that they're not oppressed is just, you know what I'm saying? It's just telling someone their lived experience isn't real. Second, your definition of strength, when you say that men are stronger than women, your definition of strength comes from a patriarchal view, right? Is it strong? Strength isn't just physical, dog. Strength is a lot. I don't know if you've ever been to combat or seen any kind of combat or anything like
Yes,
that.
I have.
It ain't okay. It's not a you. So if you have, you understand that the biggest person on the field ain't the strongest always.
No,
Strength comes from
you
from
have
a, you know what I'm saying? So you can't just
Yeah, so
blanket
we can
statement.
go. No, let's go
Can
point
you
by
let him
point. Sorry,
answer
you're
those
gish
first
galloping.
points?
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're gish galloping, so I can't answer every point. Let's go step by step.
I'm
First
not,
of
I'm
all,
not asking questions. I'm just
No,
giving you.
I genuinely want him to answer the first point without sidestepping. And I
Go
got
ahead.
my
Yeah.
pen and
Go,
my pen. I got my pen and my paper.
all right, cool. Let's
go ahead,
restate the
DTC. Go
first
ahead.
point. Can you restate the question, the first point? Let's go step by step.
You understand that your definition of strength is skewed to a patriarchal lens.
No, it's not skewed to a patriarchal lens, and I can demonstrate it because there have been matriarchies and they have followed this context of strength throughout the year. There have been Queen Mary of Scots, Queen Elizabeth, Helen of Troy, all of this and on the concept of strength
Choose a
used to impart their
timeline.
values. All of these people
Bro,
use their strength to impart their timeline. Are
What?
you
And
saying that they're
Excuse
No,
me.
hold on,
bro?
and Queen of Scots,
hold
shut
on.
I'm
up.
not
You said
Hold
dissuading
on.
that
society.
Yo, no,
there
hold
are
my wig real quick. No, guys,
there
hold
are
my
different
wig
types
real
of
quick.
Wasn't
strength.
Queen
This
Mary of Scots killed by Elizabeth the
sure
First?
was
Yes, she
Also,
beheaded. Sure
was.
was
Real quick.
beheaded. No,
and
but this
yes,
is
they
a
were, and
frequent.
they were queens, one queens amongst many
This
men. And you
this
didn't
is
talk about
a
Henry VIII.
this is a frequent talking point that tries to dismantle the concept of patriarchy. Even in those situations, you know how Queen Elizabeth the First and Mary the First became queens in their respective areas, right? It's because Prince Henry the Sixth, which was
Be polite here, but
King
you guys aren't allowed to
King.
talk. Can I just ask something real quick?
Can I finish my point real quick though?
Well, I'm trying to be polite here, but I gotta go soon, so I just want to.
So she get the slide for Harambe before I do.
Can I just ask something real quick, please?
I mean, host, if you say she get the slide, she get the slide. But I was sliding.
Yeah, she hasn't spoken much. I just want to hear a point.
No. You don't have no rights, DTC. We out against you right now. So
Okay,
back to my
sorry.
point that I was
All right,
making.
that's fine.
It's a frequent anti-patriarchal, like recognizable point to say, oh, there have been women leaders, as if most men in these situations have not been in fact leaders. And the unfortunate truth is that, and I hate saying this, is that female leaders have been tolerated with the acceptance of male leadership. So the only reason that a King Henry VIII of England has a Queen Elizabeth I and a Queen Mary I, and then by extension, you know, his son, King Henry VI, I believe it was, became king before either Elizabeth or Mary could become queens of England, but because he was the only male heir that he bore. So even in that example that you want to bring up, that is his historical fallacy that, oh, that you can look at these women, that Queen Elizabeth, the person that waged the defeat of the Spanish Armada, she was still third in line and the second youngest of the kids that he
And she was
actually
the only
bore.
legitimate heir.
And you're using that, and no, actually, Mary was, because Mary was actually married to Catherine. What's the name? Elizabeth was a daughter of Anne Boleyn, I think. So like Elizabeth got some questions with her. Mary was actually legitimate, but and actually so was James. But the fact that James or Henry, whatever his name was, look him up though. He was the person first, and then they put the girls in line, and then they changed the order of succession. I believe it was underneath Queen Victoria to officially recognize that women could become head monarchs ahead of any male descendants that came from said kings. So the fact that those laws are effectively changed by men, I'm gonna finish my point right now, means that unfortunately, minority groups are free, are liberated, and have rights at the pleasure of the oppressive, or rather the oppressor that wants to see for some reason that maybe keeling into some of the needs of the oppressed would give them some power and some leverage. It's not because they naturally wanted to do it, because you wouldn't have to fight for civil rights if somebody thought that you organically were entitled to it. So the fact that
exactly.
you have civil rights movements is evidence of the fact that somebody believed that it was not inherently supposed to be bestowed upon you. So the fact that we're sitting here speaking English, you're talking English to me. You are a product of this imperialism that you're saying that does not impact you the way that it impacts us. Bro, like we need to read the same books, and that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. And I apologize, I'm talking loud. I got a cold, so I'm trying to shout above my hoarseness. But like, stop it. Stop it. And to what end? Because where are you going with this? What a point are you proving? You're better than who, for why, and for what? Because based on me listening to your accent, sounds like you've been from some place that's been colonized. And I know that I have been, because I can't speak any other language in English. You like, oh, I speak two other languages. You know what you're not doing now? Speaking that language. And you can't, maybe you can. You said you can speak those other languages, but you still know this one. And I guarantee you don't know this one from Duolingo or some other like high school educational program that taught you a language. Because I promise you, I took high school Spanish and I do not speak Spanish. So you learn this language by some kind of inherent injection in your actual existence and being culturally, socially, economically, and politically. I guarantee you probably live in a country that has a parliament. I guarantee you probably live in a country that has a popular vote and maybe a representative vote. I guarantee you probably live in a country where your passports are honored in many other places that are actually recognized by the United Nations. You have in fact been imperialized. Stop playing in our faces. And for why? Because that's the greater question. And for why?
Okay, you went a lot of places with that, but
I
the
sure
original
did. I'll go
question
all the
was,
other places too.
yeah. Original question was asked.
I got a
He said
passport.
that my idea of strength comes from a patriarchal lens, and the reason why I brought up Helen of Troy, Queen Elizabeth, and
Is
Mary Queen
because
of
you
Scots, because they
understand the
all,
existence of
uh,
female
Can I
monarchs to be
please
oh
talk
evidence of
boy,
now?
the absence of
oh
a
boy.
patriarchy. You seem to
I was trying to
understand the
answer his
presence. No,
question.
let me repeat this because I feel like if you're about to start off on the wrong foot and host, I'm sorry, I'm really gonna mute after this. It seems like he's
So
mentioning
can
female
I talk
monarchs
now,
as
please?
evidence of the absence of patriarchy, as if the presence of female leaders is not at the acceptance of the male leaders that allow them to be there, as if the presence of those female matriarchs is
Sis,
not at the
I'm gonna
allowance
interrupt
of
you.
people.
I'm gonna interrupt you just to say that DTC knows that, and Vigil has been waiting patiently to
All right,
respond before he
my bad.
continues.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't poor people be allowed to like have babies?
Oh yeah, I wanted to engage in that topic as well. I found that topic that prompt asinine because majority of people in the world are poor. So if poor people don't have babies, the human race goes extinct.
I didn't think you cared about the human race. Vigil, do you need to go to work or like, cause you're
It's just
starting
a
a new
logical thing.
prompt?
No, I'm just saying. 'Cause I saw it up
They
there,
sh-
and
So you're
I'm
asking
just
the
saying.
host?
Hold on. I'm gonna pull a Kamala Harris here. You see, I was raised in a middle class family, right? We didn't have much money. Okay, so
That's funny.
but I was raised just fine. So what's the problem?
So
No,
middle class and poor are not
it's a
necessarily
point.
synonyms.
But majority of the world is poor. So if majority of the world doesn't have children, the human race goes extinct.
Oh, so you're concerned about classism?
No, I'm concerned about birth rates. Two different things.
Why?
Because I believe that there's value in human life.
Oh, so
Yeah,
there's value in human life. Okay, so
amen to that, brother.
the thing is that what I'm trying to get at is that you're making this statement on the context of poverty. Poverty is a class issue.
Yes.
Okay, so you do care about classism.
Yes.
Okay, just so we're clear. So just so you stop sidestepping. That's an example of sidestepping.
No. I answered your question directly.
Yes.
And my problem with this is that classism is inherent to any society that we're going to develop. Humans are naturally hierarchical. So try to eliminate class is trying to like eliminate the human population. It's our natural state of being.
Okay, so that is an anti-transcendentalist or transcendentalist conversation. And that's not what we're talking about.
Are you talking about the
You're
sorry,
saying human nature is inherently hierarchical. So we have
Yes, it is.
oppression. Okay, so that's an anti-transcendentalist mindset. That's an ideology that comes from that point of view, that school of thought.
Can you, RK, provide a counter argument to why I'm wrong?
I'm not saying you're right or wrong.
Or
I'm saying that's not the conversation we're having, which is how you started this conversation and how you derailed it. We're not
okay,
having an
all right,
anti or a transcendentalist conversation. That's a philosophical conversation.
I was just answering the question.
We'll stay
You asked
within
me
the
a question,
topic.
I answered it. I
You
legit
said
answered
I
you
don't
asked
care.
you.
Okay, so
Let's spin
5
back.
seconds ago,
Let's
you
spin back.
said you didn't care about
asked me.
classism, and then you said
No,
you
I
did care
never
about
said.
classism.
I never said I didn't care about classism. That words never
I'm
came out
sorry,
my
yo,
mouth.
everybody on the panel host, am I tripping or am I being gaslit?
Okay, go ahead. Go ask them. I never said that.
Stove is on.
You keep backstepping every
No.
you're like gaslighting. I don't know what your
No,
goal.
I was trying to. I think Absetstein asked me a question. I wrote it down. He asked me that my perception of strength. That is where this all came from because I wrote it down. He asked me my perception of strength comes from a patriarchal lens, and I was going to demonstrate that it doesn't. And that's where the Mary Queen of Scots and Queen Elizabeth comes from because their version of strength also coincided with my version of strength. I'm not saying that there are not other aspects of strength. There's emotional strength and IQ, emotional intelligence,
prove
which is
anything. That doesn't
dubious.
prove that
But
point.
those are the aspects of strength. Yeah, so
Because
I
that's
did
a
answer his question directly.
right, but for that to prove your it,
They were matriarchs.
Who were the
that's not how
matriarchs?
that works. That's not how that works. Being a matriarch and having patriarchal ideology, those are two different topics. They like what are
Okay,
you talking
let's
about?
break down.
That doesn't make
Sorry,
sense.
what are patriarchal
Oh, let's not do
ideologies?
this
Please tell
again.
me.
For the love of God.
I need to understand her premise so I can
You
engage the
understand it. We had this
conversation.
conversation an hour ago. Did you see? Do you have short-term memory
Okay,
issues?
sorry. All right. Ask another question since I'm not able to engage with that. Cool. Ask another
Anyway, so
question.
does
That's
somebody
fine.
else want to talk who hasn't talked in a while? Because